The Force Gurkha recently made its comeback in the Indian market. The car, well, it's now more powerful, more capable, and at the end of the day, a lot more practical. With rivals like the Mahindra Thar already in the market, the Gurkha, well, it faces stiff competition. But this video, well, we won't be talking about the Gurkha, but we'll be talking about the ownership experience of this Gurkha with Mr. Manuj, who happens to own this car. He has done a lot of kilometers and I think has kept his vehicle in a great shape. And I think who's best to talk about the car more than him. Welcome Manuj sir.
Hi.
So you're watching 91 Wheels. I am Nitin Kadyan, and in this video we'll be talking about the Force Gurkha and its ownership experience. Well, for starters, I guess the most asked question maybe from you, why the Gurkha and not the Thar?
The Thar is a very good car. It's very capable, but it never excited me. I thought that I used to have a 540 DP way back in the 90s I had when I was in college. And the new Thar, though it's a brand new design, it's much better than the earlier Thar. But for me, it looked more, it was too small, too compact. I needed something more, a little more practical. Besides that, the Gurkha is what I was always excited about for many years, but for various reasons I never bought it because I never liked the interiors or it never performed properly. It didn't live up to my expectations of what a car should be. Then when the new one came along, even though I already had a 4x4, I could not stop from getting one because it had everything that I wanted. It was modern from inside now, and it wasn't too modern, it was just perfect. It didn't have too many electrics. It was, it had all the right features, 4x4, twin differential locking. These things got me excited about the Gurkha and nothing about the Thar. So,
all right, and even I am sure that this must be attracting a lot more eyeballs than what a Thar would have.
If I start getting paid $10 for every picture that people take for it, I can pay for the EMIs.
That's nice. Another thing, like I personally know the Gurkha now, it's a lot more better from the inside.
Yeah.
We feel better. The practicality has been like sorted for most of the part.
Yeah.
What about the buying experience for a buyer, and what about the buying costs of the car?
Force is still a small company in terms of their dealerships compared to a company like Mahindra, which has dealerships everywhere. So a lot of people in small towns do face problems in trying to get into, finding a dealer or getting a test drive. And that was, even though I was in Delhi, earlier on getting test drives was difficult for most people, including for me. But once that was organized, once there were enough cars around for test drives, after the booking, everything went very smoothly. Even the North India sales head, Mr. Nitesh, took personal interest and made sure everything went right. I actually wanted to test fit these tires to see if they'll fit. Okay. And no other company would say, okay, come get your tire to our showroom, test the car. But they helped. They said, don't worry about it. Just get your car, test fit your tires, make sure your alloys fit. And so it made the experience very good. So it just helped a lot.
So in short, not only the car is better now, but I think for those who have access to the dealerships, the whole process is getting better slowly maybe.
Yeah, like I'll tell you my experience. Earlier, Force Motors was known for zero after sales service. I mean, because most people weren't buying, they weren't in the private sector as such. They were more into commercial vehicles. They were dealing with the drivers who drove the travelers and all. They weren't really in. So, but now they've revamped themselves a lot. It's actually, I called it the brand new Gurkha and the brand new Force Motors. They really follow up with you for your sales, your after sales, if there's a problem. After I bought the car, I had actually bought it from Mandi. I have a house in Himachal, so my car is registered there. Right. And I drove down to Delhi. In that time, I got 3 calls asking me if everything went well. Has your drive been fine? Did you face any issues? Which is the same kind of experience I get with my Ford Endeavour, for example.
So moving on, since how long are you driving the vehicle, the kilometers on the odometer, and something more about the after sales support and the service experience?
I've only driven it so far. Personally, 2,500 kilometers.
Right.
I got the car when it had done 1,500 kilometers because they drive it down. It doesn't fit into your regular trucks, so they have to drive every car down to dealerships. My after sales experience has been excellent. I've had two minor breakdowns, which was basically there was a nut loose which caused some power fluid to power steering fluid to leak out. They came home, fixed it, took the car, made sure everything was working fine, and then gave it back to me.
Alright.
And so every time there's been this minor, a couple of issues that did happen in a new car. They've lightning speed they've come and they made sure that everything gets sorted. And this is not only with me, with another few customers that I know, we're all in touch. So I told them, do check on this point if you have this problem as well. They did. They had the problem. Immediately the company took action and fixed it. And I saw in all the new Gurkhas that are coming, they've fixed the problem from factory now, so that it should not reoccur.
Alright.
Yeah.
So basically it's a two-way communication that is happening with the brand and the customers.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, can you elaborate more about the modifications, be it like to enhance the looks or maybe the functionality of the vehicle?
Actually, even before I took the test drive of my car, I had already started looking for alloys and tires, especially tires. Nowadays, because of the new government regulations, imported tires are very difficult to come by, and especially good off-road tires. I needed alloy wheels that would fit the 116/5 PCD that comes with the Gurkha, and which earlier would be in many cars which have got discontinued.
Yep.
So these alloys weren't available also. So I organized that to get my alloys and tires first, and once that was done, it was test fitted to the car in the workshop, in the showroom. Then I knew that I was on the right track. So alloys and tires was the first thing I did. Besides the tires and alloys, I haven't changed much. Everything that you see on the car has been from the company. These are company supplied accessories and are ARI approved. So the windscreen guard, the carrier, the ladder at the back are the only three accessories that I got. It comes with a jerry can holder with the carrier itself.
Yeah.
And so this was all that was done. Once I got the car back and got it home basically, then I didn't like the grille. It said Gurkha, so I changed that and some minor things inside, that's all.
I can also see these projectors. So
Yeah.
are they any of you, like I'm personally using it and I'm very, very happy with these ones.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate more, and like should the Gurkha buyers or even the Thar buyers?
Every
prefer something
Gurkha
like
and Thar buyer should go in for these projectors, because those old style fog lamps that the car comes with are very inadequate. The Gurkha already has LED headlights. You don't need to change the headlights. They're quite decent. They're not super powerful, but they're good enough. And with the bi-LED fog lamps that I installed, most of the time within the city I don't need my headlights.
Yeah.
And the good thing about these fog lamps is that when there's fog, you can actually make them yellow, and otherwise when you're on the road you can have them as white.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So nothing more, I would say, so significant on the interiors.
So, no, nothing in the interiors. The interiors are pretty much exactly how the car came with. I did get damping done, sound damping done completely. Every square inch of it is pretty much damped. Basically because now over years we've got used to lower levels of noise. The Gurkha standard already has a lot of damping. I was surprised to see that. When we opened up the car and the flooring, the sides already had a lot of damping, which is good. But I just wanted that something extra, so I went for that.
So now the Gurkha, well, it's one of those very hardcore off-roaders that we have in the market. So anything specific that you want to share from your past off-roading experience, comparing the Gurkha to your earlier versions or the earlier 4x4s that you've had?
The good thing about the Gurkha is that it's a completely analog 4x4. Everything, for example, it has twin locking differentials, as most people know by now, and it's operated by cable. There's no button that I have to depend on. Basically, it gives you a lot of confidence that once you do that, it will work. Twin locking differentials are one thing that aren't used that often. You only need them when you get really stuck. But the way the car is geared, for the highway, when you're in high range, in two-wheel drive, you'll be able to be at 100 at about 2400 RPM without the car running out of breath all day long. And when you're going off-road in low range, you can climb up pretty much vertical things, and the car will not let you down.
Cool, that's it. Now with this, I think it's time to get inside the cabin, talk about the cabin, and maybe also about how it feels driving the vehicle daily life mein, in fact even when you are going off the road on the highways inside city. So I think time to move inside the car. So now we are inside the cabin, and the first impressions, well, the Gurkha has improved, and it has improved a lot. Be it in cabin installation, be it the way the dashboard looks, the way I am sitting, the seats, everything is much better. And I think Manuj sir, he'll be able to expand on this better. So what do you feel about the cabin, sir? Any of the changes that you made, and something that you would want to share?
The cabin is completely acceptable for what this car costs. All the earlier reviews harped on about the plastic quality. To be honest, the plastic quality is the same quality that I had in my college, which was pretty decent. And the way the seats are really supportive, wide, comfortable. They're better than my Endeavour seats. And there's not that much engine noise. There is a bit of intrusion, yes, but it's not like you have to yell, and if you want to talk to someone sitting in the rear seats. The people in the rear seats get two very comfortable captain seats, with armrests. They can their shoulders aren't rubbing, and most important is the suspension. In this, you might feel that the suspension is tuned in such a way that off-road it'll be stiff and good, but on-road it's smooth. It smoothens out any other, like on the speed breaker, if I go a little faster, you won't really feel the bump as much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that much body roll either.
Yeah. In fact, what I definitely appreciate the Gurkha for is the second row. Now, I have seen a lot of Thars, anybody who's as tall as I am cannot comfortably sit behind. So the seats, they are not only comfortable, but I do get lots of space for the second row, given the fact that this is not a typical family four-seater, but for what it offers, I think a brilliant cabin. Apart from that, what about the driving experience? You have taken it off the road, on the highways, inside city, something on that as well?
Well, on the highway, everyone used to harp on about, it's only 90 bhp, it's so low powered. Not at all. Fifth gear, you can be at 100, 110 and cruise all day long without it running out of breath. It picks up speed pretty decently. Within the city, it is a dream to drive because, first of all, it parts traffic. People give you way immediately, and it's very maneuverable because of the shape it is. It's narrow and it's boxy, so it really helps you put it through really narrow spaces, and in congested city traffic, it's a revelation when you drive it. You realize that it's quite easy to drive.
In fact, what I am from the co-passenger seat is saying there is the visibility factor that is there. So you sit very high, I have a good view up front, the hood is visible to me. I think these small things do make it the overall driving experience better, and I think much more livable when you are especially driving through the traffic or you live in cities like Delhi. So all these good factors, something that you do not like or something that puts you off and needs to be taken care of?
Well, one thing that did put me off, number one, was that they didn't have like proper recovery points up front. They've got the toe strap, which the toe hook that you can screw in. That is one thing that I thought was a big miss, and there's an underbody bash plate which sits quite low. That needs to be re-engineered to make it higher. That's another negative when you're going off-road. Inside the cabin, well, in the winters it's not been an issue, but in the summers, yes, these large windows might give a lot of that, the greenhouse effect in the car. I'm sure there'll be ways, maybe V-Cool film or something that can make the heat dissipate.
Alright. Now the Gurkha, where it's heavy, it's bulky, what about the fuel efficiency that you are getting on the highways, on the like inside city, off-road thing, maybe something like that ways?
Fuel efficiency, the company claims 10 to 12. There was a time that I got less than 9 for a short while, and I did discuss it with them, and they said that after the service it will improve. And in fact, over time I've noticed that it's gone up to about 9.5, 10 mostly. Right. So that's what I'm getting in the city with AC on, and in congested traffic or not, it's giving about 9, 10 I would say.
So I think that is respectable for a vehicle of this class and the capability that it has to offer.
Yeah.
So now I am seeing this is as a manual car, so what about the clutch and like the ease of usage of the clutch?
That's a good question. The clutch is extremely light. I feel I've been driving a automatic now for many years, and going back to a manual has been a pleasure. The clutch is very light, the gear throw is short, and the gears engage with one finger. I mean, I can just push it in and it engages without any problems. It's not, you're not searching for gears like you did with the earlier Gurkhas.
So I think on that front, the driving experience, it is sorted. Now the Gurkha, it is a tall vehicle, it is heavy, the suspension is slightly on the softer end. So what about the highway stability once you are pushing the vehicle hard? Maybe triple digit speeds and stuff?
Yeah, I've been up to 100, 110 on it. You will feel nervous being this high in a car and going up those speeds.
Yep.
Personally, I would say that in a Gurkha one should just cruise between 90 to 100, and that you'd feel comfortable, the car would be comfortable, and the people on the road would be pretty comfortable as well. So another really good thing about the Gurkha over most other BS6 vehicles is that this does not require DPF, AdBlue. The DPF does, you don't have to put AdBlue separately, and in this there's a LNT lean NOx trap system which is there, and the way they've engineered their BS6 car is that the AdBlue edition is not required, which is a good advantage. And one other very important point is that in this 4 people can travel with luggage for 4 people, which and there's some, of course, with the carrier you can put things on top as well, but your luggage that maybe you don't want getting wet or a little more valuable, there's enough space for big bags, and even in the center aisle you can put a lot of luggage for 4 people, which is a big advantage over a car like the Thar.
So now the Gurkha, well, it boasts a lot of features which makes it capable of the road. So something about that, how easy, or I would say how easy are they to use once you are out there tackling the obstacles, the off-road obstacles?
Well, most of the things it can handle pretty much in 2-wheel drive, and the rest of it in 4-wheel drive high and 4-wheel drive low where required. The differential locks are something which are your insurance. They need to be used only when there's a real issue where your wheels are really stuck, and in those 10 seconds or 15 seconds where it'll get you out of the place that you're stuck is where they'll really shine through, and you'll be very happy that you got the Gurkha with the twin locking differentials.
Alright, nice. So basically what I can conclude is that the Gurkha now, it is not as rough as it used to be. It's more repairable, practical. And I think these small things that used to be there have been sorted pretty much. The gears, they are easy to operate. The steering and everything is like much better, and it's like more of a finished product.
Yeah,
that it did lack.
It is a much more well finished product, well rounded. There is one thing that I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
In my dislikes, it is the rear tire. The door rattles because of the weight of the tire on it. I think the company will re-engineer the rear door a bit to make it more stable. Otherwise, there are other aftermarket options where you can get a tire carrier mounted on your bumper and do all that. But that is one thing that the company needs to look into.
So talking to you made me realize that Force, it is actively involved in actually elevating the customer experience. So the higher ups, they are well in touch with the customers, they are taking the feedback, they are working on it, and somewhere improving the product. So anything that you would want to share to the maybe for the Force to listen, and for the owners who should take care of some small things that further can be improved in the longer run, or maybe if shared with the company, is something that would be all right?
I would definitely comment Force Motors for one thing, that their after sales experience has been exemplary. The way they've been in touch with me whenever I have had a minor issue or two, they've immediately taken action. They've been constantly letting me know what changes have been made and how things have been improved, and they've actually made personal visits to my house also to make sure that I'm comfortable with the car, comfortable with the experience of owning a Gurkha, and that gives me a lot of confidence in the brand now. I was very worried. I used to be a Toyota customer, then I went to Ford, and now I'm with Force. So yes, it gives me a lot of confidence. I would say they need to improve some of the things like the rear door rattle. They probably should do something about the bash plate engineering that they've done, which needs to be made a little higher, and a bumper, front bumper, which can accommodate chassis mounted recovery points. These are minor things which are required, but overall it's a very well-rounded product for the amount of money you pay for it. 14 lakh 10,000 on road, ex showroom, sorry, 14 lakh 10,000 ex showroom. You're getting a very well-rounded product, very capable product, and this engine and gearbox has been around for a long time. If you ever face an issue on the road, you will easily find workshops that will fix it. That said, even Force Motors is now, I think, I've been told that they're looking at really widening their service network. So they intend to have like every 100 kilometers at least one service station. So you will not feel you're too far away from a service station ever.
So this is what he had to say as an owner. As a passenger, like my initial impressions about the vehicle, they are phenomenal. The ride quality, I think, for a car like this, for an SUV like this, it is very, very sorted. I have been to the rivals, I have spent some time in the rivals, and I think the Gurkha has an edge. The cabin experience, the comfort for me is one of the very, very important factors for a car or for an SUV, and I think the Gurkha, it is sorted. Another thing about the Gurkha that I think will impress you is when you will be taking the vehicle out on the like off-road sections, the trails. The visibility factor is something that is impressive. The glass area, it is huge, and I think so he'll be able to expand or elaborate on that more. So what do you think about this, sir?
The Gurkha has almost no blind spots. Wherever you turn your head, you'll be able to see exactly where you are, where the car is placed, where the trail is, where the rocks are, anything else which is obstructing you is. And even in the city, it's very helpful to have a car which has no blind spots. It makes it the driving experience easier, and off-road it's invaluable. Another thing I can talk about is when people talk about the power in the Gurkha, it's not only about how much power it has, but how that power is delivered. Now the 250 Nm of torque comes in really early, and at 1400 RPM you start getting your torque, and up to I think 2600 RPM is your max. You get your power, you get your torque delivery is very smooth, very linear, and it makes the drive. You can drive around in third gear all day long in the city, second and third if you need to, and off-road also when you're climbing a hill road, a steep section, the power is there for you the minute you want it. You won't feel that, oh, I needed the power at that point and now I'm have to roll back or pull my handbrake and wait. The power is there on demand.
So that makes the Gurkha, I think, pretty much sorted offering. For the price it is offered at, with the capabilities that it boasts, I think it is a value for money product and something that you should definitely check out before you make your next purchase. So well, this was it, the ownership experience of the Force Gurkha. Now in my opinion, well, I always loved the Gurkha for its mechanicals, the way it looked, and with this new update, I think it is a better choice when compared to many of its main chief rivals. Well, I think, sir, he'll also be agreeing with me. And what do you think, like, to sum things up, whatever we have discussed so far, maybe 2-3 lines about the car and what you have to share with the viewers?
The Gurkha definitely is a very, very capable off-roader. It's always been that. Now it's moved from only a pure off-roader into a car which can be used daily in the city, which as I do, and even on family trips. And it's become much more usable, much more friendly. And that's why I say that now it's finally moved into at least the 2000s, if not the 2020s. It's a good car. It's a good car to own now.
So well, what do you think about the Force Gurkha? The comments box is open for you to share all your opinions and thoughts about this SUV. We'll be back soon. You are watching 91 Wheels. Stay safe, stay healthy.